threats from online security. So that would also damage their name and their status as being this huge online corporation. It has lawsuits, as the other group said. They have tax evasion lawsuits, and it also has lawsuits from employee treatment and working conditions. A lot of people have been speaking out about how the pay was too low and how the conditions are just so unbearable in their factories where they start to package all of these items. And also because it's so large, it's really hard to control the amount of counterfeits and other illegal items that are being sold on this platform, because it sells, I heard, like 500 billion. I don't know, but it's billions. You can't really have a grip on all of that. So, but I know that Amazon is starting to take more steps to try to solve these issues. So my last stock was Nike, which is, I think, the smallest percentage in our portfolio. I think it's almost 4% only. So Nike also, once again, is part of every young person's daily lives. It's multinational. It's the leader in the sales of athletic apparel and equipment. I heard that it takes up about 40% of the entire market, which is so large. Because you think that Nike might share like this market with a few other companies like Adidas, Under Armour, and maybe some other shoe companies. But no, Nike basically has half of the world's market in the shoe industry. But China is going to try to, I won't get into that actually. It has a very high profile and popular culture. You see ads everywhere on YouTube. You see them when you're browsing on some other websites. If you go to high school now, you see all the students are on their phones waiting, like bidding for like the Nike shoes, like the Jordans or whatever, and like they sell it for like, they buy it at 200 and they sell it at 400, and that just basically gives Nike more fame, more popularity. It's just in that height. It has it sponsors a lot of high-profile athletes and celebrities and teams in competitions. So it had a deal with Colin Kaepernick. Of course, a long time ago in the 90s, it signed that contract with Jordans, and we see how that went. It's still relevant today, though Jordan really isn't. Sorry. That is just what is making this is one of the really big reasons why Nike is just so big. Because we love these rappers, these celebrities, you know, people our age, you know, we can't live without that, really. So them partnering with Nike, that's such a good move. It was founded in the 1960s, so it might seem like a very, very modern, like a Gen Z thing, but no, it's from the boomer era. It was originally called Blue Ribbon Sports, but that's bland, they made it into Nike. Which is so much more appealing. Nike is so popular across the globe and remains dominant in the industry. Top choice among American teenagers. If you look at any statistics, usually Nike is the top choice. Even though some people will be like, oh, maybe Adidas shoes are better, or like, oh my God, you see how much more people are in those stores. Apparently not when it comes to statistics. Once again, many celebrities have contracts with the companies, and they always have constant new lines of shoes. And they have, I just saw on the news yesterday that Colin Kaepernick, it's not close to unveiling, it actually came out. He might be a very controversial figure, but Nike somehow solved that, and that just shows how much influence it has. Nike this week had a very good week, and this goes back to just how the consumer discretionary sector is just so affected by the U.S. market. So this week has been I think it has been a very good week, despite the impeachment. So usually when I first went into Nike, it was I think 89 or something, and like it was around there. It wasn't doing that well. It kept going down, and maybe it went back and break even, and it goes down again. And it was kind of concerning, but you know what? We're not really here to make money. We're trying to have a really good portfolio with a good name with all these companies. We want some damn good companies. So Nike, I remember the one time it was like when Trump imposed tariffs or something on like aluminum or something, even though it really had nothing to do with aluminum, it stock went ooh. And and that was kind of concerning, but I stuck inside, and I know not to sell because I came under fire after selling twice. Rather traumatic. But Nike is just doing really well, even though their CEO stepped down. I forgot why their CEO stepped down. But y'all know Nike. You see in Skyview and Flushing, you see how many that line from like morning to night. There's just this line. We love that. Anyway, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. Those are the two main competitors, and Adidas is at like the bottom, and Under Armour is even lower. Nike has this market cap of 111.91 billion, and Adidas, its main competitor, which so many people are like, oh, Adidas is so much better than Nike. They're apparently not making that much money, even though they have basically the same sort of marketing, advertising. Somehow Nike just fares better. I won't get into any of that because I'm not a quantitative person. A popular global brand, once again, you all know that. It has a huge customer base. Whenever Nike comes out with something, it comes out with a new deal. It has something on its app. It might have a new feature or something. You know, millions of people flock and they want to be part of this hype. It makes them not only feel popular, it makes Nike feel even better. Nike sponsors a lot of high-skill sporting events. I heard that, of course, they do soccer, I think. And, well, I'm not a sports person. They have the low manufacturing costs, but that also might be a weakness, which I'll get into in a few slides. It has this really effective marketing strategy. Somehow, whenever it comes out with any sort of ads, any sort of promotion, it's just so appealing, even to me. And I don't even like Nike as a clothing company, because I'm wearing Adidas right now. I'm an Adidas person too. But then when it comes to other aspects, Nike is the go-to company. It always has continuous product development. It's always coming out with new shoes. It has new technologies, even though, like they say, you might have more bounce or like feels more comfortable. I don't feel any of that. But somehow people somehow do, and they're still getting money from it, so they're doing something right. Weaknesses and threats. So it has lack of transparency in its partnerships. You don't hear that much of the details when it signs contracts with people. There was a incident where this girl signed a contract with Nike, and then they made her like do things that she didn't want to do, like lose weight and other that, and wear some of their other clothing, and that like hindered her performance. So that actually put a dent in their brand image. They have poor working conditions and low wages and manufacturing factories overseas. So they have factories in like China and Vietnam and other Southeast Asia companies. There have been strikes. There have been people who have gone in and basically exposed the horrible working conditions because they're almost like 19th century sweatshops. And Nike does acknowledge its wrongdoings in that, and I believe it is taking steps to help that. It has focused mainly on the footwear industry. So when you think of Nike, you think of shoes. Even though they might have some other sort of apparel, some other clothing, really they don't make as much money off of that. It's always footwear, 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 footwear. So if something serious does happen to affect the entire footwear industry, Nike would get hit probably the hardest. It has, of course, been affected by international trade practices. Whenever negative news or positive news pertaining to the market breaks out, Nike also once again goes, and that might be a good thing, that might be a bad thing, but then that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at long-term growth. It's susceptible to, also like Amazon, lots of counterfeiting. And we know counterfeiting is just horrible. I have lots of friends, there's lots of concerns. Like when people go out and buy Nike shoes, especially online, they always like, oh my God, is it real? And they go check, because that just shows how much of a concern it is. And I believe that when people start buying these shoes and that are counterfeits, but then they don't know that it's counterfeit and starts breaking easily, or has some other issues that will hurt their brand image, people might think that Nike, isn't a good shoe company at all, and they might flock to Adidas, and that's good news for them, but not for Nike. They have this a core business model that is just founded on like authenticity and like coolness and all that, and counterfeiting was just hit that pretty hard. Next. Is that it? Okay, so opportunities. So Nike is also trying to take steps to make itself like look better. It's starting to create products from like water bottles and all that. I heard that I think Yeezys are recyclable, made from recyclable materials. And whenever a company starts going green, that will just make people be like, oh, I'm gonna buy their products because that makes me a good person. I'm helping the earth. Greta Thunberg. That has helped it a lot. Crazy. It has custom designed shoes. Once again, young people, they like to make their own crazy things. They might like spray paint or make some weird designs. They might make a backwards swoosh logo. They like to do whatever they want. They want to be creative. So Nike has this feature in store sometimes, and I believe online, that would let them design their own shoes. And that just also shows how much they're utilizing technology. And that's good for my generation. Growing and emerging markets would also allow more people to access Nike products. There are a lot of, as Royland said, a lot of people are rising from lower classes to the middle class, and not only America, but in other companies. And that would allow people to access more luxuries. And of course, people would go for clothing probably first, and Nike, go-to company for all of that.
Okay, just want to give special thanks to Alan, Juliana, and Adam for giving us this opportunity to partake in this competition. Honestly, I think like I can say for everyone here that it's completely changed my life.